Because you're back, is it next spring you're going to be back on
Broadway, yeah, Othello.
Wow.
Yeah.
Played it at 22, gonna play it at 70.
Are you scared? Because every time I've done it,
Terrified.
I'm absolutely terrified.
No, you know, I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I did just ask himself if he still remembered the lines, having done it 20 years ago, because every play, like I've done these Shakespeare plays, I can't even remember the plot. And he then quoted in, like, a monologue at about 1,000 miles an hour, so I'm dead impressed.
But you don't genuinely remember it from being 22?
Yeah, I do.
Certain parts.
Wow. Certain parts.
Wow.
Her father loved me, often invited me, still questioned me the story of my life from year to year, the battles, sieges, fortunes that I had passed. I read it through even for my boyish days, the very moment. Yeah, I remember some of it.
Check it, somebody. Google it, Google it.
I mean, we can just do that for an hour. Happily watch that.
Actually, the lines are right here.
Meryl, I've heard you speaking about how you are now sort of aware of the effect you have on a cast.
Oh, yeah. I heard you say you were terrified. You weren't really terrified because the first day I worked with you, I forgot my lines.
I loved that.
Immediately.
The highlight of my year. But here's an interesting question I meant to ask you all these months and never dared. Are you ever nervous? Were you ever nervous?
You did ask me that.
Did I? What was your answer?
Every day you ask me that. I'm so nervous. Aren't you nervous? No, the second week, I'm not nervous of this. But when we got up at Carnegie Hall, I was shaking.
Yeah.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
And that was late in the shoot. And when I had to, you know, at the end, when I was very nervous about that.
Well, that's not easy.
No, I get nervous. I get nervous on chat shows. Chat shows are hard.
Oh, stop
You're
it.
a genius. I don't know how you do it. You put the most uptight people relaxed, but it is very tough.
But you are all relaxed. You're nice.
I'm really uptight still.
You haven't moved. I know.
But the thing is, but you can sort of relate to it, I guess, people's reaction to you, because when you were starting out, you must have had the reaction to...
I did. I had... The first famous person I knew was Al Pacino. I didn't work with him, but he came over to the house for dinner. He was a friend of my boyfriend, and I was cooking... Why? I cooked spaghetti. I cooked homemade spaghetti sauce, and somebody had told me once to put a carrot in the sauce. Oh, it was awful. And I just remember stirring it, and for some reason, my lip going like this. I wasn't saying anything, I was just going... I was so nervous because he was so famous, and... But, you know, people are people.
You should have just gone to Tesco Metro.
Yes. Did he about the carrot?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I just knew it wasn't any good.
And it is that thing that every time we see Meryl Streep in a film, you know, it becomes kind of ridiculous, but you are brilliant in them all. Have you got performances that you watch back or remember where you kind of think, oh, actually, I was a bit pants in that, or...
Oh, yeah.
What?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, come on!
Oh, my God!
Let's guess! No, that's bad.
No, you won't guess.
That's a bad game.
You won't guess. No, I know. That's a bad game. But you won't guess, because I've just collected a lot of awards for that film, but no.
Oh, really? So it's one of your big successes, and you think...
Well, I wouldn't say it was successful. It was venerated. Yeah.
Ooh, I'll get it out of him.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you. It was The French Attendant Woman.
Yeah.
I really thought... But part of it was in the... I'm giving myself an out. But part of it was the structure of it was sort of artificial, because it was I was the actress playing the French Attendant Woman.
Yeah.
At the same time, I was an American actress playing the British woman. And I hear it now. I was young and new at this, and I just didn't... I wasn't as pleased as I could. I didn't feel like I was living it. I didn't feel I imbued the angel of inspiration with the... whatever it was. That's a line from the movie. But, yeah, we always feel... You always want to do something better after the fact, but, you know...
But there must be ones also you kind of think, nailed it. This you nailed. You both do, honestly.
We were happy with
terrific at it. You've been on a few times, Julie.
Have I?
Yeah.
Oh, here you mean, yes.
Yes, here, yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever mentioned educating Rita.
Oh, wow.
And, yes, yeah.
How many years ago? 36, 37 years ago.
Is it really? Wow.
Yeah.
Because you originated Educating Rita on stage.
Yes.
And it was a big success.
Yeah.
But then the movie, you weren't supposed to do that, or that wasn't going to happen.
No, it wasn't. No. Well, somebody came to... Well, Lewis Gilbert, who directed the film eventually, came to see the play and then rang me and said that he wanted to make the film, but he didn't think he wanted to use me, but he wasn't sure that he'd be able to. But he was going to go off to it because nobody knew who I was, and they would need a star to get the money and all of this. And he was going to America to try and raise some money. But when he went to America, they wanted Dolly Parton. I'm sorry. Yes, exactly. Very different film. Yes, two reasons why I couldn't compete.
Is that really true, Julie?
Yes, true. Paul Newman and Dolly Parton, they wanted. Well, fabulous. It would have been fabulous, but it was a Liverpool, you know. Anyway, Lewis was wonderful, and he just said, no, we're not going to go down that road. No, and he came back. And then he rang me up and he said, we've got Michael, so we can have you. We've got a star. We can have you. You can play this.
Amazing.
And you didn't get the Oscar, but you did get a BAFTA, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
You were very excited to win the BAFTA.
Stop it. Stop. I know what you're going to go on about. I had a drop taken that night. That's all. And so I didn't expect to win. And in those days, the BAFTA Awards, this is a very long time before you people, we used to have dinner before... How much of a mistake is that?
That's a disastrous.
It is.
That's a big old no-no, especially in England.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people were absolutely plastic. Well, not everybody. It was the first one I'd been to, and they just filled your glass. I was terribly nervous anyway, in case I might have to go up, you know, so you know, and all of this. And then it was deadly when I went. I thought I was being really funny, and I obviously wasn't. Really pissed.
Well, no, I don't know, Julie, because we have a picture of that night.
No, you haven't.
And you really can't tell. I don't think you can tell.
Stop it! Oh, my God! Oh, I've never seen that before. Stop, take it off the screen. I've never seen it.
Take it away, take it away, take it away.
I ended up under the table with a very famous actor, and I can't remember who it was. We were putting, like only actors can, we were putting the whole world to rights. Well, I don't know why she won. I don't know why he won. It was all that sort of thing. And I missed meeting Princess Anne. She's never spoken to me since.
Because, Kate Winslet, when you talk about your Oscar, I really like it because you were just so... No false modesty, you wanted to win it, you loved winning it, it was just a brilliant thing.
I'm still thrilled even now, and it was about 7 years ago. Oh, no, it's the most extraordinary moment. I mean, I had...
Because you've been nominated a bunch of times.
Well, you see, the thing is, you get really good at losing when you get nominated more than a couple of times. And
weren't you nominated twice that same year or something? No.
I had...
Two categories.
Don't make me say it.
Sorry. Well, I said it for you.
So you were up in 2 categories that year?
I was... What had happened was I had 2 films come out at the same time, which is not uncommon, actually. But it just so happened that both of those films were getting this type of attention. And I went to the Golden Globes that year, and I had been nominated in 2 different categories and won them both, which was quite fabulous, actually.
Sorry, everybody else. But it was
fantastic.
It does look greedy.
Oh, no, it's ever so...
showing off.
I am completely showing off, 100%.
Right, I say.
And then when I did win, it was a really fantastic moment. I've got to say, it was, you know, a personal fist-pumping moment, the biggest one of my whole life.
But you're really generous with the Oscar, aren't you?
Well, one tries. You know, everyone... The thing is, first of all, it's very heavy. I just need to say that. It weighs about 6 or 7 pounds. It's really surprisingly heavy. So... And everyone wants to have a hold, of course, and wants to stand up and go, oh, I'd like to thank my primary school teachers and my mum and dad. And so the best place really for Oscar is actually the loo, because then when everyone goes in for a wee or a poo, they can really take their time in front of the mirror with Oscar. And you can always tell because they flush and then there's about another 5 minutes. You're playing with Oscar. And they come out. How was Oscar? And they go, oh my God, he's so heavy. But yeah, it's a lot of fun watching
It's the
people's
time
faces.
test. Too long for pee, too short for poo.
That's
You
it.
know they're in there with the Oscar.
And talking of getting parts in films, Rosamund, you in Gone Girl, to make sure you got that part, you went to extraordinary ends. Where were you? You were in Scotland.
No, I was. I was in Glasgow, and I'd rented a remote cottage for the film I was doing, which is sort of my wont to get out of the way. But then, of course, I didn't have a very good internet connection, and David Fincher wanted to do multiple Skypes with me. So I had to join the Virgin Active in Glasgow, the gym. And then proceed never to use the gym, but to ask occasionally for a conference room. I don't know what they thought I was up to, but anyway, I did get a very good internet service, thank you, Richard Branson. And it came to the point where David wanted to run through some lines and do some scenes. And there's a scene towards the end of the film where Amy is... you know, really playing it up for the FBI and talking about the abuse she suffered. She didn't suffer any at the hands of Desi. And I used to have to say things like, you know, I was spread-eagled on a bed and I was shaved and raped and, you know, it gets pretty dark, right? Anyway, I'm doing this with the sort of best of my gusto and there's this nervous knock at the door and this woman poked her. She says, I'm terribly sorry. She says, we're actually closing now. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, I should say that if you were listening to it. She goes, no need to explain. And I thought, oh, my goodness, she thinks I'm here for therapy.
Just shut the door. We must really talk about Alfie, because Alfie was obviously a very important film for you.
That was a very important film.
Yeah. When you watch it, it's such a British film, and yet it was a success globally, wasn't it?
Yeah, everywhere. Everywhere except France. It was a success. It was a success. And I had a best friend who was a Frenchman, and I said to him, I said, Alfie was a success all over the world. I said, I was nominated for an Academy Award. I said, and it was a disaster in France. I said, why that? He said, well, we couldn't believe an Englishman could make love to 10 women. I said, there were 11. And 2 of them were French.
Yeah, twisting the knife. And talking of hit movies, Shawshank Redemption, obviously, you know,
great movie.
one of your most... Yes, everyone loves that movie. And that's one of those movies, anyone puts their, you know, best films of all time list together, it's always on.
Yeah, it's always on there.
It's always on there. And yet, that film has never been a
tanked
hit.
at the box office. And the reason for that is, of course, is that the only real marketing movies get, I think, is word of mouth. You can promote it all you want, but if the first few audiences go there and come back and can't say, I really saw this great film, then you're not going to go very far. So people went to see the Shawshank Redemption, and then they came back, oh, man, I saw this really terrific movie. It's called the... Shank Sham. Shim Shank. One lady saw me in the elevator one time. She said, oh, I saw you in the Hudsucker Reduction. So if you can't get word across, then it just doesn't do well.
Yeah,
you know, you can't say it.
That's why Alfie did well.
Boom, we got it. And is that the film that turned you into sort of Mr. Narration?
Yeah, that was it.
Because it's so special, that narration. And now, we have got a little kind of Shawshank mashup. So would you mind lending your voice to it? I go on.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I must admit I didn't think much of Graham Norton first time I laid eyes on him. Looked like a stiff breeze could blow him over. That was my first impression of the man. I could see why some people took him for annoying. He had a walk and a talk that just wasn't normal around here. And boy, did he drink. He drank like a man without a care or worry in the world. I hope to finish this talk show one day. I hope Michael stops talking for just 1 second. I hope people stop asking me to do stupid voiceovers like this. I hope.
Oh, very good. Morgan Freeman. Very good. Thank you very much for that. Juliette Binoche, you're in London dancing. Is this right?
Yes, we're doing with Akram Khan, who's a choreographer and dancer. He's a contemporary choreographer, and also he does Kathak dance. And we decided to do a show together.
What's Kathak dance?
It's the Indian with the music, you know, counting on your fingers. It's a classical way of dancing as Indians.
So, are you doing a bit of acting and then someone comes on and doing Kathak-ing?
We did some writing first together and trying to link. I'm sorry, I didn't get your joke.
No, it's not a joke! I'm not joking!
You're having something on your head.
Is it the end of my hair?
No, not joking.
Oh!
It's not a fly. It's a big fly.
It was a wasp. Drawn to shit. Thank you very much. This is weird. It's now on you. There it is. You said it all. There it was on you.
Thank you.
This is the start of a really creepy film, isn't it? So everyone in the audience. So you're not a trained dancer, but you must like dancing.
I love challenges. I love going on to different fields, and I feel like that's the time, you know, that's the time to go on to something new. But I feel that movement is in me, you know, as an actress, you start with wanting to go to expose something intimate to the others, and I feel like dancing is also, yeah, as painting too, you know, you start...
I'm not smiling.
No, it's all right. That's smiling.
I know. I'm just thinking I can't wait to see the Kathak, but that's... Sally, you've never been here before.
I can't remember.
No, well, do you know, I'm the same as you. I often don't know, but I know for a fact you haven't been here before.
Okay, good, then thank you for that.
Okay, well, I wonder if you remember the answer to this question. You've worked with someone on the couch.
So my first...
Were you 12 at the
Well, no,
time?
my first... I don't know if it was my first... I think it was my first TV show was ER, and I had one line.
Yeah?
And I played drunk Valentine boy. And you were playing Maura Tierney's mother, is that right?
I was.
And I was on a gurney getting an IV.
That was you! Oh, yeah. I knew you were talented.
Lie. And also, actually, we figured out this out backstage, that one of my best friends growing up lives, or his family still lives in the house that Sally lived in Encino, California, off of Haven or...
Well, that is really creepy.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
That's serious.
I can only apologise. And the trouble, it's going to get worse, because there's another super fan down the end there.
Yes.
Yes.
Very much so. Too much? I grew up watching Gidget.
Oh.
I loved you in Gidget.
Oh, there you are in Gidget.
Thank you. You don't seem old enough.
Well, it was on as a rerun.
It was.
But I don't remember exactly what the show was about, but boy, I loved looking at you on the beach. It was everything for me.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It was filmed in 1965, and I doubt that you were even a concept in anyone's mind.
No, I hope not. No.
but so many great roles, like Norma Ray and Soap Dish I Love, Steel Magnolias, Forrest Gump, just fantastic. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Sally Field, you bring us an extraordinary memoir, In Pieces. There it is. It is out now. By the way, how beautiful is that? Gorgeous. Gorgeous. And it's
a little light reading.
Well, it's not light reading, but it's a fascinating story, and you know there's so many personal things in here.
Yeah.
And I understand the urge to figure it out in your head and to write it down, but it is weird that then like yobs like me can know it, and you know people will read this and know these things about you. But the story you tell, on one level, it is your career because that threads your life. But you do, as you say, share these stories, you know, being abused as a child, difficult relationships, your insecurities. And I don't know if you'll agree with this. What I was really struck was how important your work was. Yeah. It wasn't just work, that you found personal strength in the characters you played.
Well, it wasn't even that. It was that when I was 12 years old, and I don't know how you guys found your craft or why you even ended up there. When I was 12, I was lucky enough to, in my junior high, I was lucky enough to have a theater arts department. And I was, came from a sort of traumatic kind of childhood, and I had put myself for survival in a sort of fog. But when I stepped on stage, and it wasn't even a stage, it was a classroom with all the chairs and desks pushed aside, I did my first scene, and I was 12 in 7th grade. And it was from Born Yesterday. I couldn't have been more wrong. But it was that some bell rang and the fog cleared and something electric, like a spark, happened inside me and I was alive. And I could hear my own voice. I was purely alive on stage with that young man across from me, and I heard myself speak to myself. And it was the only time it had happened. It was just a flash, and then I went back to not knowing what to do with my hands and my feet. But my whole life long, I have spent, trying to search after those fireflies on the edges of my eyes, which is what led me through my entire life.
Who are you? Who are you? You're a superwoman.
You guys are just young, that's all.
You give speeches?
I've been here a long time.
Have you given more speeches about this? I mean, because I think it's very powerful what you just said about...
More speeches. I've been on the road with this book for 2 months.
Have you?
All talk out.
Who haven't I talked to? I swear to God, it's like ding dong. You want to buy a book?
But now, are you familiar with your fellow guests?
Of course he isn't. Look, he's just got a clue who I am. But God bless you, I don't mind.
I was briefed.
Oh, OK. There will be a lady in green. Her name is Celia. She's an actress. So, Second Best Exotic Marigold Hotel is the film that Celia's in now. But did you see her in Calendar Girls?
I didn't see Calendar.
Oh, OK. You missed a lot. Yes, I think we've got a picture of Calendar Girls. Hello. Yeah, that's the Helen Mirren line about...
Considerably bigger buns, yes.
Yes. And now people say that to you.
Well, I was in Skegness once having a moment of, calm out on the end of a pier, and I suddenly heard this young girl shout out to her mother, "Oh, look, it's bigger buns!" It was embarrassing. Except that 2 weeks later, I was in Paris walking along the Champs-Élysées.
Hello.
Hello, and a very handsome man, not as handsome as you, or you.
That was very nearly an awkward moment, but carry on, yeah.
What? It still is an awkward moment?
Stop!
Hello? I'm not dead over here.
It was too difficult to get...
You're supposed to be an actress. Pretend.
I'm sorry. I adore you. But anyway, I'll have to go back now.
Oh, yes, you're on Champs-Élysées.
I was at Champs-Élysées walking along, and along comes this rather good-looking man with a bit of a twinkle in his eye, and he stops and looks me right in the chest and says, "Ah, la grande gâteau," which was a much better idea.
Yes, you like that. Because Sean, it's the thing about being a very recognisable person. Do you get people shouting things at you in the street?
Not about my breasts.
That's good.
I haven't had that. Yeah, the language is not maybe appropriate for the show, that I hear a lot when they shout.
Oh, OK.
Yeah, because it tends to be that people are either civil with me, which means they say nothing,
or they have something not kind to say. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it makes you, I like it.
Now you're feeding it. Now people watching this going, no, he really likes it. Be rude to him.
It couldn't be any more than there is.
Here's the thing. I know in the films you are acting. I'm aware of that. And yet in life, this is pathetic, really, but I'm still quite intimidated by you. Is it just me? No, it's you too. Okay, cool. Okay, that's good. You're smiling. It's nice to see you smiling. I wasn't particularly sure you could, but it's nice to see. It's nice to see. But now, here's the thing. So, both your kids, they're grown up now, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But when your daughter was starting to date, were you a relaxed father? Can you imagine ding dong and the door opened and it's Sean Penn? Were you nice to the suitors?
Well, when my daughter waited till about, I guess she was 16 when the first one came to the door. So that was 16 years of waiting for that moment. I'd been fairly permissive with her. She had a lot to trust, you know, going out with friends and so on. But this was not her night. This was my night. And so he came to the door. She was ready. Then I had to explain to her before I would answer the door that she was not ready. And then she needed to go upstairs. And she tried to, you know, left that off. And I said, no, her name's Dylan. I said, Dylan, I will not let you go out with him if I don't get this moment. So, you know, to which she said, oh, my God, Dad, and went upstairs with a red face. And so then I went to the door, and I opened it quickly. Mr. Penn. And I said, no, call me Sean. That's your car? Yeah, nice. You're not going to drive drunk with my daughter, are you? No, sir. No, call me Sean. Oh, yeah, yes, sir, Sean. And he says, no, I won't drive. Good. Listen, I prefer you get her back early. But I want you guys to have a good time and all. But the main thing, whatever time you do get her home, whatever you do with her while you're out, I'm going to do with you when you get her home.
Were they home quite early?
Well, the thing was, he laughed in what I thought was a nervous laughter with me, but it was laughing at me. He was 3-time mixed martial arts champion of his age category in California, so he thought the whole threat was pretty humorous.
Your modelling career was incredibly successful.
Yes, it was incredibly successful.
I mean, you won
was
Vogue,
so lucky.
the cover of Vogue 23 times, 24 times?
23 times the cover of Vogue, yeah. Once, oh yes, there are some photos.
Oh, there you are.
One I had 4 months in the row. It was always me. When in the 5th month, it was some other model. I said, what's that? Who's that?
Ugly cow. And your childhood sounds extraordinary, because you had obviously a very famous mother, Ingrid Bergman, but a very famous father, film director.
Yes.
So you grew up with kind of being surrounded by... maybe the paparazzi have always been around. The paparazzi would be outside your apartment.
Yeah, when we were little, yes. We lived in Italy. And so paparazzi, you know, the word comes from Italy. And so, yes, they were always outside the house. It was not so fun. But we threw stone at them, water bucket full of water. We had a war. My mom would say, stop. They would think I'm a savage children and it is my fault. But we had a ball torturing them.
And I didn't realize that actually, you know, because when you think when you make big movies, you know, ka-ching, but actually you made more money as a model.
Yes, I made more money as a model than acting. Yeah, it was less ka-ching in films.
Which is weird,
than in modeling.
You just assume that... You hear about the top deals, don't you? You hear about the big deals, someone getting 25 million. You don't hear about other people getting £300 a week. Or,
yes. I think that there are a handful of actors that make these very big salaries.
Well, Maggie, you're here working at the moment.
Yeah, just about to start working.
Oh, so you haven't started yet?
Well, we're rehearsing, picking costumes and things like that.
Okay. So I'm right, it is about the person who invented the vibrator.
Yes, the person who inadvertently invented the vibrator.
Wow, that's a story already.
Yeah.
You sound like you're in great pain.
Yeah, so in the turn of the last century, you know, there was this whole thing about hysteria, about, you know, any ailment that a woman had, they'd say they were hysterical. And one of the ways to make them feel better was to get them off. So they're, what do you call it here? I don't know.
That'll do.
Rub one out.
The show has only just begun.
So, you know, there'd be these doctor's offices where you could go in and have an orgasm.
The NHS is very different now, isn't it?
And in the film, are you playing American or English?
I'm English.
English? And you've done it before. You've been Nanny McPhee, you did the English accent
Yes, I
as well.
did.
And do you feel confident with the English accent?
I think most American people would kind of secretly like to be able to talk English now and then, so I feel pretty good about it, and I quite like it.
Because have you wandered in your accents into the regions?
No, but I've been hearing you two wander into the regions, don't you?
She hasn't wandered anywhere.
Yeah.
She's like...
Stuck.
Can I hear Welsh?
Okay, so if you said something like, "Oh, that's a beautiful boy."
Oh, it's a beautiful boy.
See, that's, it's that thing of, whoa, Indian.
Yeah.
Can you do it?
Come here. That's a much easier word to learn.
And how about you? What's yours?
I'm from Bristol, so very shy, the Bristolian people. I guess, all right, my lover?
All right, my lover?
Yeah. Gert Lush is another thing. If something's
Gert Lush?
if something's amazing, you'd say, oh, that's a Gert Lush sandwich.
Oh, it's a Gert Lush sandwich.
There you go.
Somebody from the West Country once told me that they call woodlice Granford Crouchers.
Do they?
Yeah.
I think they might have been mocking you, Sean.
Maybe a little bit.
And while you're here, are you able to kind of walk around and not be bothered?
Yeah. Nobody's that interested in me here.
No, it's fine. Show her some love. Mob her. If anyone's got some time over the next few days, stalk her a little. She'd appreciate it.
And were you guys friends? Always friends?
No.
Oh, so you met for this?
Yeah. Okay, but what's also weird too, and I need to just
Please. Okay.
tell the world this because you think this is normal and it's just not. He cast me without auditioning me or seeing me in anything ever.
What?
And he goes, yeah, but that's fine. I'm aware of you. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I met you before. I was like, we met twice in passing. Yeah. And you put me in your movie. He's still like, yeah, has no, an yeah, essence. what's wrong? Look at his essence. His Yeah. essence. How could you not cast his essence? You can't get an essence and give somebody. Is that how you got a part? That's not how you get a job. An essence.
It's the greatest like acting in the world. Like I don't know how to describe it except it just felt exactly right. He's amazing.
Well, you do seem brilliant. I mean, but you weren't in your head when you were writing Benji. You weren't thinking of.
No, I was going to play that role, and then I was dissuaded.
I took it from him.
Yeah.
And is it true, Kieran, you weren't going to do this film? You didn't want to do it?
At one point, yes, I did try to back out of this film. Whoops.
2 weeks before we shot, not at one point.
Oh, yeah.
2 weeks before we.
Yeah, he didn't know that. They kept him in the dark about me trying to get out of the movie thing. Glad I didn't. There we go. We made a good movie.
It is a really good movie. It is a really. And you're both. It baffles my mind that you were going to play Benji.
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah, because you both seem so perfect in those roles.
Oh, thanks. But thanks. Yeah, but we can do different characters. Yeah. What to say?
Don't take it personally.
Yes. But now, you say you've only met a couple of times, but is one of those meetings, it was an audition, wasn't
Yeah, exactly. That's where we first met, and it was in 2008, and I had no recollection until Kieran brought it up.
I brought it up like a couple weeks ago.
I know how you feel.
He didn't, Yeah, I'm very memorable. Thanks, guys.
But he has this
bring me
essence.
another goddamn drink.
Yeah. You want to tell the story?
I leave an impression. No, you tell the damn story.
I actually never heard it from your perspective.
Because it's less interesting. You talk.
Really?
Yeah.
Jump in if I get something wrong. Yeah, we were at an audition for a movie that I was already acting. It was called Adventureland, and I was already in. That's a lot.
Yes,
and so I was like already in. So And Kieran came in to audition. The character that Kieran was auditioning for was supposed to like constantly like hit me and manhandle me and like knock me around and stuff. But none of the actors auditioning would do that because it's so, you know, we're in a union. And so, but then Kieran came in, and not only did he like punch me in the groin, which is what the character is scripted to do, he also grabbed my like breasts and twisted them. And as the director, too quietly said, cut, please stop, please stop. Kieran was grabbing onto my chest, looking over and saying, what? And so I remember this thing, I think unconsciously, which is that, like, I was kind of in control in this room, and yet somebody came in and, like, stole the room and also was brilliant. And that's what this movie is. Like, I pay for this trip, I arrange the tour, and yet he comes in and takes over immediately.
Worth noting I didn't get the part.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But do you not remember that?
No, I remember that. He didn't remember it.
Oh, okay. What was going on in your head when you decided to do that to him in audition?
Head? I don't have one. I don't know. I wasn't thinking. Obviously, I'm not thinking. That's not part of the preparation. It's like, okay, on this line, I'm going to touch the left nipple. There's no. But I do remember when he stopped us, I was still holding your nipples, taking the note. I was like, Okay, so do you want to go back to the beginning? Oh, sorry, by the way.
But do you do that a lot at auditions?
Do I touch nipples at auditions? No.
If there's like, let's say, there's a kissing scene in a movie and you're auditioning for it in that
Do I kiss the person that I'm...
Yeah.
What do you think?
I did that once.
Did you?
Never again.
Why would you do that?
Because I was 13. I had no idea.
You were 13 and you kissed somebody you were doing a scene
At an
with?
audition with.
Did she punch you or what happened?
I think No, I didn't get punched. It was worse. I heard from my agent not to do that again.
That is worse, actually.
Oh, you'd be sick.
Yeah. Nicola and Daniel are just going, oh, my God.
I told you the story the other day. I did get a job once. I auditioned for something. It was the play Suburbia, and the playwright was there, Eric Bogosian. And there's a part where, like, the character Buff has to mime giving a blowjob. And I got the part that day. No, don't. Just stop. Mime, I said. But I said, he goes, you know what it was? It was the blowjob. And I said, oh, why? Did none of the other actors, like, drop to their knees and do it? He goes, no, you were the only one that cupped the balls. So,
that's acting.
Put that on your show.
Yeah.
You can just get that one.
The two of you working together, you and Emma, obviously brother and sister in Love Actually, which you forget that you're the brother and sister in that movie, and then lovers in Sense and Sensibility. Beautiful. Of course.
He was so grumpy all the time. So grumpy. He knew me, he'd known me for years. There was nothing there for him. He knew that I wasn't going to cough up. Actually, he couldn't have been less interested. I'm trying to make it look good. But in fact...
I did let you down on that. I was grumpy, fat, bad, and got arrested halfway through the...
Yeah. Well, you were so famous because you hadn't been famous. We'd done 2 films together where neither of us was famous, and then you were suddenly very famous because of 4 Weddings.
What were those other 2 films?
Impromptu, where you played Chopin in a terrible wig.
Yes.
And The Remains of the Day, where you got killed in the war.
Yes, very sad.
Very sad. Yeah.
Heartbreaking. And of course, famously directed by Ang Lee.
Yes.
Now, did you both feel the same about Ang Lee, or was one of you keener on Ang Lee than the other?
Could that be a leading question?
It sounds like... I think we all ended up adoring him.
We adored
but
him.
The opening, the first initial scenes were tricky because he was a man of very few words, partly because his English wasn't great at that time, and also because he was this great sage from Taiwan, and he was like Grasshopper, and you waited for his words of wisdom. And I remember doing quite an easy scene with Emma, walking down beneath some trees. I thought we were being rather good, and we went up to Ang Lee, who was sitting at the monitor afterwards, and said, "What do you think, Ang? What do you think?" And he said, very boring. And it was really crushing. He hadn't developed the thing of telling, English actors, me in particular, I have to be told I'm marvellous all the time. He hadn't got any of that. So I remember him saying to Kate Winslet, "You will get better." So,
he said to you,
oh, yes.
Could you do one like a bad actor?
Yeah, and I said, I think you've seen that one, though.
Things do take preparation, like fights take preparation. And
they take a lot of preparation.
Yes. Now, Ryan, is it true that Harrison feels...
There we go. Yeah.
Harrison feels, Ryan, you were underprepared for the one fight.
No.
I know what you're referring. I know what you're referring
Yes.
to. Just say it.
Use your
Graham.
words.
Just stop beating around the bush.
Well, he punched you.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right.
Well, he punched you. Yeah, of course I punched him.
But you weren't meant to punch him.
Right?
Oh, I misread the script. He stepped on my foot, for Christ's sake. No, we were doing a scene in lights, in flashing strobe lights. He was walking backward. I was walking forward. The camera was handheld. You know, you have to make the punch look like it's intended.
Yes.
But I hit him. 1 out of 100 times I hit him.
Right.
Yeah.
I should be lucky I didn't get hit more. It's the theme of this.
I apologize.
It's not just a punch, though. I mean, I think it's like a Harrison Ford punch is a different animal altogether.
It was not a good punch.
I'll be the judge of that. Okay.
I tried to
think
apologize.
most
I went to his dressing room, his palatial motorhome, with a bottle of scotch in hand. You know,
lovely gesture.
Cracked the top, poured him a drink, gave him a drink. Says, you know, he said, "I'm kind of busy now." And I went back to my trailer with the rest of the bottle. I had the intention to leave it, but nah. My hand hurt. I needed some medicine.
Mikey Madison here, first-time nominee for the Oscars. You have been nominated, is it 8? I think 8 times.
Yeah, 8, I think, or 9 maybe.
Yeah, let's go with 9. And but 2 wins, that's the important thing. Yeah, 2 wins.
Wow.
Yeah. So, looking back, are there things you wish you'd known about going to the Oscars or being involved in the Oscars that you could share with Mikey Madison?
No.
OK, fair enough. Do you need a pen, Mikey? You might...
He said no. OK.
Prepare a speech or no?
Well, you know, if you prepare one, you're probably definitely not going to win. And, you know, if it's spontaneous, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I would just say that the one thing is that if you're nominated, you already won.
It's so true. And the thing about this book, because, you know, you're an actor. You've been in a lot of Shakespeare plays. But this is more than someone who's been in plays. I mean, you know so much about Shakespeare. Were you surprised that you knew as much as you do about Shakespeare?
Well, that again is Brendan. That was Brendan O'Hay, an actor who I met at the National and whose idea it was to come down. He said, why don't I just come down and record you talking about all the plays? I don't think there was a book intended, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
You'd have to ask him.
Yeah.
But then, you know, suddenly I remembered things, and it sparked off a whole lot of memories, and he, of course, fed them, and he was simply wonderful about it. And it was a great pleasure to do it, because I didn't think a book was at the end of it. I just thought it was glorious conversations, get us out of COVID.
And in terms of the amount of Shakespeare roles you've played, how much Shakespeare is constantly in your head? How much Shakespeare do you carry around?
As much as it is all of us, of course. We don't realise, Graham, as you know, we quote Shakespeare all the time, perhaps without knowing it. But, I mean, also, you only have to go to those plays and be in any kind of those situations, being in love or being jealous or being angry or being whatever, and you will find that there is a way of him summing up that is completely sufficient for what your emotion is.
Yeah.
What passage is on your mind now, Graham?
Well,
it was just on the tip of your tongue.
How all occasions do inform against me.
Fuck you, Whitehall! Fuck you!
Show me the card. Show me the card.
Don't know where that came from. Quick, Judy. If I poke you with a stick, can you just do a bit of Shakespeare for us?
If you what, with a stick? If I poke you with a stick?
Touch you gently. If I touch you gently with a stick, could you do a little bit for us?
Like what?
I don't know, like a bit of a play or a sonnet? Or
a sonnet? A sonnet?
Sonnet?
I'll do a sonnet.
It's like us having a Shakespeare jukebox in the house.
I'll do that. When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy contented least, yet in these thoughts myself almost despising, haply I think on thee, and then my state, like to the lark at break of day arising from sullen earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered, such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings. That.
Wow. That is spellbinding. Really, it's gorgeous.
Unbelievable.
Oh, no. Unbelievable.
I mean, there's more dialogue than I had in all my movies altogether.